When were you converted? Were is that a big deal? I never knew I was converted.
Yeah.
My dad was a
Can I turn that TV down?
What'd you say?
Can I turn your TV down?
Let's get off. My dad was a Christian. He taught me the catechism before I could go to school. I could read and write. He was a school teacher himself, one room schools for 7 or 8 years. He graduated from Andrew Normal School. Did you ever know there was a normal school in Andrew?
It took a while to figure it out, but yeah.
It was his graduation class was in the museum down here, 1898.
1898?
He taught the first 2 years of Traveler's Repose and stayed with Peter Yeager in the house that Jesse Powell.
Yeah.
Beard lives in.
I was up there the other day to get pictures of that.
She was here the day before yesterday.
Oh, was she?
Somebody brought her that here. Anyway, my dad stayed there 2 years. And he taught 6 years, I believe, after that, and quit. Can you imagine what the salary was?
Gosh, no, I can't.
The term was 3 months. The salary was $60.
$60.
And 5 for the 3 months. $5 for board. Most of the time, some of the people, it was sort of an honor, some places, to board the teacher. But anyway, he stayed with Peter Yeager, that old it. And he went back to farm. $65 for each term. He taught at Frost, Belzai, and several of these schools around close here. But what I was saying, he taught us the catechism, he taught us the commandments, he taught everything. He took us kids, I was ill, to church, and he said, you don't do this, you do that. And I just did what he said. And in his lifetime, I never saw him do something that he had told us not to do. I never ever heard him swear, not even to say damn. No vulgarity, no nothing. So I just did like he did all the time. Tried to. After he died in 1951, I got more sincere, you know what I mean? I thought of it more.
Right.
When you're young, you don't think a lot of things that you know. But after that, I just tried to make sure I was doing right, or what he did, and what he did was right.
So you followed his example. And you would say he was a good example.
He was a perfect example for his children.
Now, how many of you were there?
6.
There were 6 of you.
3 boys and 3 girls.
And where did you fit into that rank?
I was the oldest, and Richard, my brother, was the youngest. He was born when I was a junior in high school. He was late. He was 8 years younger than Eddie. Gordon was next one to me. Then I had Martha Lou. She married from down at Bell Point. Now that's my worst trouble. I'll think of it a little bit. And the second girl married Neil Sharp. They were second or third cousins. And the third girl married boy at CC's up here. And she only lived about 3 years after that.
Well, now, you had a person by the name of Gwendolyn down at Lewisburg.
Oh, that was Gwen Klingman.
Yes. I've eaten at her place many times.
She was my first cousin on my mother's side. She was my mother's only brother.
Okay. She was a Jordan, or did she marry a Jordan? She was a Jordan, or did she marry a Jordan?
That's right. My grandfather was Jordan, but they called him Jordan.
I know.
Like Hamilton.
Yeah.
Hamilton was Carter's chief of staff.
Right.
And he corrected radio and TV all the time. I am Jordan. I'm Hamilton Jordan. I was born south of the Mason-Dixon.
And the Jordans are born south of the Mason-Dixon, and the Jordans are north of it, right?
Jordan was about, evidently from him. I don't know from my parents. And my granddad come over here from, he was apprenticed as a printer or publisher. He graduated from Polytechnic Institute in 1876, Newmarket, Virginia. That's where he grew up. He can remember the Battle of Newmarket. As soon as he graduated, he took an apprenticeship with Hinkle Brothers. I didn't know. The word didn't mean anything, but later in life, I found out it was one of Virginia's big publishers. I think he always told me his father didn't want him to do that. But before he had finished that, they sent him to Monterey. And he established the Highland Recorder, which still runs.
I didn't know that.
They have his history right there. George Jordan started the Highland Recorder. It's going yet. They had a history of it a few years ago they published. Then from there he went up to Franklin, and as far, I never thought to ask him any of that stuff. He died in the 40s. I was in medical school. I believe he went from Monterey to Franklin and started the Pendleton Town, but I believe he did that on his own, because in the record up there, when he left there, they sold it in their name, in his and his wife. His wife's name. So this one must have done all right in Monterey, and they decided that. But when he got up there, Grover Cleveland appointed him as one of the publishers of the Congressional Record in his first term.
Mm-hmm.
So he evidently was doing all right.
Yeah.
But near the end of the term, it was evident that Cleveland was not going to be reelected. So my granddad was without a job other than come back to Franklin. He and another fella went to medical school. Medical school was not school like now. Dr. Jim Price gave me a good history of that. He never went to high school. He went to Baltimore, went to a medical lecture place. He said there was 15 or 20 in Baltimore signed a doctor's letter. $50, and we prepare you for your license to practice medicine. Well, my grandpa took what was called medical lectures. He had nothing. But I presume that was because he was discouraged with the politics. And come back to Franklin and got a license to practice in West Virginia. They just started licensing. And he told me this story. He rode the train from Harrisonburg to Roxburgh and was a doctor at Roxburgh on the first licensing board. And he went in and sat down and talked to him, and the doctor told him to write how you diagnose pneumonia, how you would treat it, and what you would expect the outcome while I write your license. So he wrote that, and when he gave that to the man, there was no more, it was just, you met the man. They had a yearly meeting probably, and went back to Harrisonburg, and of course his wife, children, 3 of his children were born in Franklin. My mother was born in Franklin. Lena Briggs was born in Franklin, and Mary Sharp, Ernest's wife, was born there. And in 19